Hi, I'm Vienna, here with HyprMX at Pocket Gamer Connects 2026 in London, and I'm joined by Vincent from 52 Entertainment. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for being here.
Pleasure.
So I know you've seen ad monetization from both the publisher side and the ad tech provider side. How does that shape the way you think about it today?
Yeah, great question. I think it's a strength. I've been, as you mentioned, vendor side, networks, mediation, as well as data provider. And in mobile gaming, particularly in the IAA games, the monetization, the advertising is very important, obviously, and technical in a way. So the better you understand the flow between the dollars coming in up into your bank account as a mobile gaming, the better you understand all those steps and the players and the incentives of each player, the better you are to make the right decision and to build a good and strong monetization strategy.
Mm-hmm. And why do you think player attention can matter more than impressions in mobile games?
Yeah, so impression obviously is what we look at, and obviously the CPM, and you multiply, you have your revenue. But in some other parallel worlds, like in the branding world or desktop world, those players start to measure attention, potentially even pay per attention. That is not something we do right now in the mobile gaming. We don't really think about how long a user have seen an ad. That's something we started to work on to retro-engineer, the revenue we make per second, either per second, obviously time spent in the game, or even second I'm exposed to an ad. I think it's still early days, but there is something to dig there. There is value to understand the impact of an ad, either as an advertiser or as a publisher. So you're very right. Attention is, at the end of the day, what matters in advertising.
And where do you think there's still room to improve in how players experience ads?
Yeah, good question as well. Obviously, we spend a lot of time on the gameplay and the user experience about the game, but as we know in mobile gaming, the ad experience is embedded to the point where, when you think about the game economy and IP, you really have to set your strategy even before the development, right? So that's absolutely key, and there is a lot of things to improve, I think, in our industry, and we're working on that as well at 52 Entertainment in terms of user segmentation. So why should I offer the same ad experience to all users? All users or all CPI, when we do UA, is not created equal. Some users going to watch a lot of ads, some users, going to spend on IP. So we have to differentiate the ad experience. There are some tools, or you need to do the heavy lift internally as a publisher. But my point of view is that as an industry, we're still a little bit far away to really have products on the shelf set up where we can plug and play, build a strategy around user segmentation in ads. So there's a lot of room to improve, to answer your question on this front.
Right. And I know that a lot of teams say they want more control over monetization. What kind of control do you think matters and what doesn't matter?
That is a loaded question, right? We know that. Yeah, of course I want more control. My monetization team wants more control. It's very funny because, 5 years ago, we're like, okay, we're going to actually lay out all our monetization, dear monetization manager people, thanks to bidding. Now we're actually hiring more monetization manager because there's tons of things to put in place, either in terms of strategy or network management, and obviously the user segmentation, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, publishers, at the end of the day, they need the machine, they need the algorithm, but you need to have your input and actually put in place and design and execute on your strategy, which only you as a gaming publisher knows. Mm-hmm. Right? You have your data, you know your users, and therefore you have to use the tools to put in place your strategy. So, and right now, as we all know, in the mediation space, the levers have been removed. So I really hope 2026 we see the levers coming back, basically, so we can use them.
And when ad monetization works well and is successful, what would you say are the main things at play?
Well, I think the obvious thing is obviously the ad pressure versus the retention. It's always a balance, right? So I'm happy to put even more ads, but I'm going to lose my users, right? So there is a threshold, and you need to balance this as a gaming publisher to find the right, ad pressure where the user, still enjoy the game and actually stay in your game as long as possible. So for sure, that is the the right answer. You have a right monetization where you strike this balance. It's very fine-tuned and you retain your users. And at the same time, obviously, you make money with their attention.
Mm-hmm. And as a publisher, what's a trade-off around ads you think teams don't talk about enough?
So I think there is one thing that is still kind of in the dark or we don't talk about enough is the ad template. Right now, each network has their own secret sauce or, ad template, and it's not normalized, right? And so we publish games. So my users, I expect, my users to see the same ad experience. When you watch TV, usually the ads have pretty much the same format, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. On mobile, it's a little bit all over the place. So I think, kind of normalizing the ad experience across the different networks we work with would be a good idea.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, and it was a pleasure meeting you and talking with you.
Sure, my pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks.